One second.
So guys, welcome to the session. Like if you have any kind of question, like you can just, either raise your hand or just ping in the chat, in the everyone's chat room. Like if you have any question, like one of our representative will gonna take your question and just gonna ping the instructor. Kaushal is the instructor for today's workshop. Yeah, have a great workshop, right?
Yeah. So hey guys, my name is Kaushal, and I'm from third year B section. And today I'll be conducting this small workshop of where we'll be Discord we'll be implementing a chatbot actually, and then we'll be using Discord for as a platform to communicate with the bot, and we'll actually use Google's Dialogflow API to actually implement the machine learning part. So what the bot replies to you, how you converse with it, all will be handled by Google. So hope you guys have received this link of yeah, hope you guys have received this link. So here are all the links for the for all the stuff I'm going to be discussing in the workshop today. So for starters, what I've planned is we will set up the Discord bot first with all the API keys and stuff, and then we'll move on to Dialogflow, and then we will set that up. And then after having both the API keys and stuff, we'll go back to the code, and then we'll start working with both the keys, and I'll teach you how to actually integrate what Dialogflow has to offer with Discord. So so to build this using JavaScript as a language, so there's no problem if you don't know JavaScript. Like if you have some programming knowledge, JavaScript is really easy to pick up. So I guess we are most of you guys have done C. So JavaScript is very similar to C, but then there may be some things which may differ. But then I'll be teaching you how to look at the documentation, and then take the stuff you want. So now we'll go to the Discord developers portal to set up our API keys. And here you should be logged into Discord. Otherwise, if you get a login screen or something like that, please log in. My internet is a bit slow right now, so it should load anytime now. Yeah, here we go. So now when you come to this page, go to the top right and create new application. So now here give a name for your application. I'm going to go for Discord workshop. All right. So I'm going to click on create. So this will create a new application for you. All right. So now here you will have your client ID. So you keep your client ID saved with you right now, but then we will need them later by actually what do you call that, adding the bot to your server. All right. So yeah. So now so now we have to actually create a bot in this application. So click on add bot over here. Okay. So click on add bot over here, and then you can choose to add the bot. Click on yes, do it. All right. So a wild bot has appeared. So anyway, this is your bot. All right. So here you will have your your Discord secret API key. It'll not be revealed to you so that you can directly copy. And again, please don't use the same API keys I am using in this workshop. I'll be deactivating all these keys after the workshop. So go ahead to this URL and then generate your own keys, please. So now your bot is everything it's done. Your bot is actually built. So now we shall go to this link in the reference repo saying bots permissions calculator. So we will open that link. All right. So you will be greeted with this page. So here you can actually change, and you can give permissions of what of how the bot behaves in your server. Right now, what our bot is actually doing is it's just reading, sending, and and what do you call that, yeah, it's just basically reading and sending messages. You don't need to give any extra permissions like kick members or ban members. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take read messages, send this, embed links, attach files, and read message history, and all these things. So I think read and send will be enough, but then I just gave all this just to make sure. So now here you need to paste in your client ID, which I told you to copy it and keep. So copy this and paste here. All right. So here you will get your link to add your what do you call that, to add your bot to to the server. So for that, I need to open Discord. Hold on. Yeah, yeah. So I have a test server called as bot test where I'll be adding all the bots. I'll be adding my bot over here and testing it. Created a channel called Chatbot Workshop. So here I'll be testing the new bot which you create today. So over here, open this link. 1 second. Yeah. Finally. All right. So yeah. So now here we can select a server. So I'm going to click on bot test, the server that I showed you some time ago. And I'm going to keep all the permissions as it is. And I'm going to authorize this bot. All right. So now here it'll probably ask me for a reCAPTCHA. This is the part where I get really scared. And crosswalks. So now I got a notification from Discord saying that a new bot has been added to my server. All right. So a new bot has been added. Which one? Yeah, this one, Discord Workshop bot. The bot which I just created. So are you guys with me? Hello?
Yeah, we are actually, they can't unmute themselves. So yeah, kind of.
Yeah, okay, fine. So now the Discord part is complete. So now we'll move on to we'll set up Dialogflow now. So now for that, I will need you guys to open this Dialogflow console. All right. So I have provided the links again in the repo. So you can just open that. All right. So this is the main console, or you should be authenticated with a Google account to open this, by the way. Yeah, so you'll not be greeted by this page, I think, because I've already bought over here. So what you need to do is click on this drop down menu, and you have to create a new agent. A new agent is basically a new bot. So once you do that, yeah, so you have to give an agent name. I will give it Discord Workshop bot. All right, so I'm going to create. It'll take some time to create. So yeah, I have to just be patient because all this is happening on the cloud. So it'll take some time. Okay, so everything seems done. So now our bot is actually online, so it's created. All right. So now after after you come to this page, what I need you to do is I need you to actually scroll down over here. There's a menu called Small Talk. All right, I need you to click on it, and I need you to enable it. So what this feature does is this feature will enable the bot to actually converse with you. So they've given a nice example over here. So if at all if your message is how are you, and the bot will reply wonderful as always, thank you for asking. That's really cool, right? Because you can ask whatever you want and the bot is going to reply in a nice way or however way you want. So now Google actually gives you a lot of stuff to customize. So if at all if you want your bot to actually talk in a certain way with you, you can click on this all these different options over here, and then you can actually give a sample answer. So if at all if someone asks the bot who are you, then you can give a really nice answer. I'll come back to this later, and then I'll show you how this is actually done. All right. So yeah. So now we have to actually get the API key from Dialogflow. So for that, you need to click on this gear icon over here, and then it'll take you to this page. All right. So So now, like, you have to you have to click on this service account. It's better if you open it in a new tab, because like, you'll be like, you'll be directed to Google Cloud actually for this. So for that, yeah. So how, like, by the time it's loading, I'm going to just tell you guys how, like, how Dialogflow actually authenticates you. What we are using is Dialogflow version 2 API. So how this works is, it actually creates accounts like this. It, like, it'll create a service account, and then it will authorize one, like, it'll authorize a person or a user to that service account. So now, like, and then inside a service account, you have to create API keys. So like, and then a person is authorized to a service account using these API keys. So after you've come to this page, you can either create a new service account down here, or you can add a key to the same service account. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to use this service account itself. All right. So, like, the name is Dialogflow integrations and everything. All this got created when you created your bot. So now over here, you will notice, like, actually have the dark mode. All these things won't be black, like, dark for you. So, and like, nevertheless, it doesn't actually matter. So down here, like, you scroll down to the keys section, and then, like, you will already have one key active with you. So, like, but we are going to create a new key and authenticate with that. So click on this button called add key, and then click on create new key. So we are, like, it's preferred that we were, like, we would want our key in a JSON format, because we're using JavaScript, and both of them actually bond well together. So we'll click on create. So what this does is, it directly doesn't show you the JSON key. It will actually download it for you. All right. So whatever, like, API key is actually downloaded for you in your local workstation. So we'll close this. Like, if you want, you can actually close the tab, because we don't really need it. And we've got our API key from Dialogflow, and we have, like, we have our API key from Discord as well. Over here, you can, like, you can copy this token. All right. So now what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna I'm going to go to, like, now we can actually start coding it, because now we have both the keys, so we can actually start coding. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to this directory what I've created. And then I'm going to use Visual Studio Code to like, as my code editor. Yeah. So to those of you all who are, like, unfamiliar with JavaScript, I'm going to, like, use the, like, the runtime environment called Node.js to run all these, like, bot applications. So now, like, once you're in your your working directory, I need you to execute a command called npm init -y. So what this command does is, this will create a file called package.json. What this file does is, it will hold all the metadata of your project, what all dependencies you have, what all packages you installed, and everything. So the -y flag will default will set everything to the default values. Cool. So now after you hit OK, yeah, so it has created the package.json file over here. All right, so now we will need a file to work with. So we'll create an index.js file. So our index.js file is over here. So now for, like, for the Discord bot thing, we are going to, like, need a, like, need a package called discord.js. So if you go back to your reference repo, and again, I'll be coming back to this site every now and then, so please, like, save it in one of your tabs. So go to the first point, so, like, called discord.js.org. Yeah, once you visit this site, you'll be greeted with this page. So what we need to do is, we don't need to go into the documentation, deep into the documentation, read everything and all those things. So because the bot is pretty basic, like, it'll just take some message, it will send it to Dialogflow. The Dialogflow will calculate whatever there is, it'll send a message back, and the bot will just reply it back to the person. So like, in this example over here does basically that. So we're just going to copy that and paste it over here. Cool. So this is basically the boilerplate code. All right. So now I'll tell, like, so what is this code doing? So I will tell you. Like, you have to install a package called discord.js. So how do you install the package? You can type npm install I hope you guys can see this thing. Maybe I can't really enlarge the terminal font, so I'll be telling them out loud. So the command is npm space install and your package name, which is discord.js. So hit enter and let npm do its thing. By the time I'll explain. So what this code is doing is it's actually requiring okay, so it's actually requiring this package from this node modules folder. So once you install, you will get this huge folder called node modules. It will have all the packages of whatever packages you install through npm inside it. So we have to require it. So the syntax to actually use a package in JavaScript is require. So you assign a variable to require whatever is there in that package. So this line is just requiring, and this line is creating a client. It's creating a new Discord client as it's given in the documentation. And because JavaScript is asynchronous, that means there can be multiple things executed at once. So once the bot is ready, it's gonna once the bot is ready, it's gonna log this statement just so that we can actually see the bot is ready. So you don't need to write this. I'm just gonna type bot ready. All right, that's it. Cool. So now, so what this statement is doing is, so on any message, so on any message the bot is receiving, it's going to be captured in this function. So on any message, if the bot receives any message, this function over here will be triggered. All right. So this function will be triggered. So so if the message.content is ping, then the bot will reply as pong. That's it. It's very simple. And this is a pretty basic example of how discord.js works. And the interesting part over here is it needs it needs you to log in using a token. All right. So for the token, we previously I told you about the API keys, right? Over here, the secret token. Yeah. So now I will need you to copy it, and I will need you to paste it over here. And I'll just remove the quotes. Hold on. Yeah, I'll just remove the quotes. And up here, I'm just gonna make a new variable called token, and then I'm gonna one second, and then I'm gonna initialize to this thing. So now you may you may observe that this thing has to be a secret. And I'm telling you guys again, please don't use the same token I'm using it over here. I'm going to be revoking all of this after the workshop. So follow the procedure I did. Go to the site, register your account, and then get a token for yourself. So actually hard coding your token inside your code is really bad practice. You shouldn't really do this. So what we are going to do is we're going to hide it inside a file, inside a folder, inside a working directory. So you're using environment variables. So what environment variables are is they are going to actually hold all these values inside them, and then and then you can use them inside your code. But then if you're sharing your code with someone through GitHub or through GitLab, or or if you're just sending the zip file over to them, they your friend won't know this. This should only be known to you and yourself only. So no one else should actually know know your API keys. So JavaScript actually has a really nice package called .env. It'll help you to hide your API keys within your directory. So for that you have to again install. So npm space install .env. So that's the spelling. So go ahead and install the package. Yeah. So it looks like the package the package is installed for us. No errors are got. So how this package works is you have to create a new file called, wait, not over here. Yeah. So yeah, in your main root directory, create a file called .env. All right. So so in this file, what you're going to do is you have to add key value pairs. Key value pairs are basically you have to add a name equal to and some value of it. So our token name is in all caps Discord token equal to, and then I'll equate it to this string whatever we have over here. And be careful, don't add any double quotes. It's nothing but something equal to something. So no double quotes, nothing. So go ahead and save your environment file as it is. And how the way you use it inside your project is at the top of your project you have to require the the .env. like a package and call config method out of it. So what this is doing is it's going to require like the .env package installed in your node modules, and then it's going to execute this method out of it. So what this method does is anything which comes after this line, like your environment variable will be active. So if at all if you want to use your environment variable before this line, you can't do it, because this only after this line is called you can use your environment variable. So the way you use your environment variables is, I'm just going to remove this for now. So the way you call it is you call it by process dot env dot whatever name you have given in your environment this thing. So here I'm calling it Discord token. So I'm going to call it Discord token. That's it. So this way I've hidden my like an API keys into a .env file. But they're like so if at all if I want to share my code with someone, they won't actually get my environment variable directly directly shown in plain text. So here it's only hidden to my computer. So it's an environment file locally only on this computer. So this is really good practice, because if at all if you're working in a group, or in the future if you want to work together as a team, it's really good to actually hide your API keys, because the bad actors later on, if at all if they find some keys like that, they may really what do you call that, they may do bad use of it. So now this one, so now now that our code is done, so we'll start running our code. To run your code, type node index.js, node space index.js, or whatever file name you have given. So node space whatever file name you have given. So once you hit enter, yeah, so now you will get a you get a print message saying bot ready. So it's going to print this bot ready. So which means that your bot is actually ready now. So now if at all you keep this running, so now when you go to your Discord, your bot is online. So now you type what was the message? Ping. So now you type ping, and now it's going to reply to me saying pong. Isn't that great? It's so easy to actually make a bot with Discord.js. Is that easy with just requiring 20 lines of code, and having good practice of hiding your API keys within an environment file. You can come up with a such a simple Discord bot. All right. So so now now that we actually have a working Discord bot, we will add Dialogflow APIs to it. So now you can stop the running of the bot. And yeah, go back to the repo again. And now I will need you to visit this link. You're using Dialogflow. It'll redirect you to another GitHub repo over here. All right. So one second. Yeah. So this repo, it will have the documentation of how to get started using the the Dialogflow client. All right. So now here, it needs to require install 3 more packages. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm just going to close this off. Yeah. So now you have to install 3 more packages. So I'm going to use the same command as before, npm install, and here you can specify multiple packages with a space in between. So npm install, the package I need is Dialogflow, Dialogflow space, and this at Google Cloud /Dialogflow. I'm just going to copy it and paste it over here. And I'm going to need another package called UUID. So what this package does is it'll generate random strings on every time you execute this function. So so the way your Zoom meetings are held is every time a meeting is called, a random string is generated. So that's how the the Zoom servers know that this this meeting is active, and then all the people can join that meeting using that specific string, and and the specific string connecting it to the server. So and then we're going to install UUID too. So hit enter. So it's going to install all the 3 packages for you. All right. So yeah, so by the time we'll be reading the documentation over here. So again, both these lines are, I think, familiar to you by now. You're again equating it to a variable, and then you're requiring whatever packages you have installed. Yeah, so this function, all right, so this function looks pretty tricky. But yeah, it doesn't end over here. it's more. Yeah, so what this function does is it's going to require your project ID, and then and then it's going to require session ID created by the UUID4, random set of strings, and all these, all both of these lines are you don't need to worry about them, because this is the way Google connects you to their servers. So you just copy paste these lines. You don't need to worry much about it. So yeah, I think we finished downloading both of those packages. So we'll go ahead and require these two. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it down here. All right. So yeah. So now, we need to do one more thing. The what you call the JSON file, what you just downloaded. So we need to actually import it into our folder. So you go ahead and then copy the cut the JSON file and copy it in your working directory or wherever it is. So here I have now the JSON file. It looks something like this. Again, please don't use the same I'll be telling this to you again and again. Please don't use the same project ID and stuff, because I'll be revoking them, and then you have to go and create it all by yourself. So please do this. So now because we need a project ID. Where is it? One second. Yeah, so because you need a field for your project ID, I'm going to create another variable in your environment file called project ID. PRO. 1 second. Project. Project ID. Okay, I just realized that. Fine. So now we need to copy this project ID field and paste it over here. Done. That's it. All right. So you can close this file. So now you can go ahead and copy this function, this whole thing from async function to the end, till the end. Just copy that and go ahead and paste it over here. It'll be better if you paste it before the ready function and before the message function is called, so that the entire function is actually passed before the message function is called. So now what we're going to do is we're going to rename this function to reply message. All right. So what's actually happening here is this function, like I told you, or this basically authenticates you with Google Cloud. And authenticating with the Google Cloud is actually a bit tricky. So what I suggest you to do is, again, visit that same repo and visit this page called authentication. All right. So visit this page. Yeah. So here, this page will actually tell you how to get authenticated with the service accounts which you just created previously in this session. So now, yeah. So now scroll down to setting up an environment variable. So now here, if you're running Linux or Mac OS like me, I'm actually using Linux right now. You can use this command in your terminal, or if you're using Windows, then in PowerShell you can use this command, or with command prompt you can use set this command. So since I'm using Linux, I'm going to be using this command. So I'm actually going to copy this till here, till equal to. So what we need to do is this is again an environment variable. So you need to export your environment variable throughout your system, and inside this you have to add a path to the JSON file what you just downloaded. All right. So now, okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to, yeah, 1 second. Yeah, I'm gonna paste that line of code I just copied. Not yet. It's better to do it later. So I need to know the file path, right? Which file system or which which directory I mean. So for that, if you're using Linux, you can just write pwd. It'll print out the the file path of this project directory, and then you can type ls to list all the files. So do it till here, and if the name is too long for you, Discord bot something, you can just rename it to what do you call that, API config.json. That's it. Yeah, API config.json. That's it. So now ls again. So now your file is renamed to API config.json. So you have the file direct, the path and the file name. So now we'll copy that same command again, and we're gonna, yeah, and then inside double quotes over here. So what this command is doing is, I'm going to just zoom it for you. That's too much. Yeah, over here. So it's export space Google application Google underscore application underscore credentials equal to, and inside double quotes, you need to mention the path, the file path of where the JSON file is actually residing. So inside that, I'm just going to copy this PWD thing. Okay. And then I'm going to paste it down here. So now I'm going to put another forward slash, and then I'm going to copy this API config.json file name. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so now I'm going to paste this API config.json over here. So this is how the command looks like. Export Google underscore applications underscore credentials equal to, and inside double quotes wherever your JSON file is. So hit enter. So now it has exported your Google application credentials and stuff. So if at all, if you like, if you're on Linux like me, and then if you want to really check if your credentials are actually there in an environment variable or not, you have a neat little trick. You can type env and then a pipe character, or the or symbol what you use in your programming, and then type grep, and then your your environment variable name, which is Google application credentials. All right, so copy that and paste it here. So now if you hit enter, 1 second. So yeah, 1 second. So you have to type it here itself, env Google applications credentials, second, grep. So here, I think you have to refresh this session. So it didn't work over here, but here it's working properly. So it'll give you an output saying Google application credentials equal to, and whatever file path is set over here. So if at all, if you get this output, that means your file path is currently it's correctly set. So you have nothing to worry about. All right. So now Dialogflow will authenticate itself. And yeah, so now I'm going to be making a small a few changes over here. So instead of actually passing project ID as a as a parameter, I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna paste it down here, and then I'm gonna equate it but I'm gonna put const there because it's a variable. Then I'm gonna remove this. Yeah, so now over here I'm gonna I think you guys remember that we have created another variable in your environment file called project ID. So yeah, so we need that. So again, the same way you have done it over here with the Discord bot token. So we are going to get the project ID out of the environment variable file. So the way you do it is process.env dot whatever the environment variable name. So I will I've given it as project ID. So that's it. So project ID is now set to a constant parameter, which is this. And so yeah, that's about it. And yeah, so and in this part, what's happening is so in this part, what's happening is this is basically the request of what you're sending to Dialogflow. All right, so this entire object actually gets sent to Dialogflow, and then Dialogflow actually processes this, and then it'll send you a response. Where is it? Yeah, it'll send you a result over here, basically a response over here. So the text over here can be changed to whatever you like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it I'm going to pass this function to this client.on message. So if at all, if if a message, how should I say this? I'm going to, what do you call that? Just pipe whatever the user sends me to this bot, and then the bot is going to contact Dialogflow servers. And once the Dialogflow will actually send you a response, we are going to send the response back to the client. It's so simple. All right. So I'm going to remove this ping pong thing. So yeah, I'm going to log message, because for debugging purposes, you can see you can make sure that what and all the parameters are present in the message. You can make sure about that. So I don't really need this line. I don't need all these lines. Yeah. So what I actually need is I need to get the response from the from the intent or the request. And then after I get the response, I need to get the result. So all this is there in the documentation. So what this string is doing is it's actually extracting a parameter called query text. This is an object. The response is an object, just like how you have in C, right? You use the dot the dot access specifier to actually and get all these different object parameters out. So the same way in JavaScript, you have the dot operator. So you're using the dot operator, you're extracting the result, and the result has some interesting stuff. It has query. I'm just gonna, yeah, it has query. So like, query as in what query was sent to the, sent to Dialogflow servers, and then it has this response. So if you uncomment this line, you have response. So response is is a parameter of what you actually get back after Dialogflow processes your query text. So now what we need to do is, because this function is being called inside this dot message, so now we need to return whatever this fulfillment, but whatever this fulfillment text is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to return it. Return. And because it's asynchronous, you can use await. You don't need to bother about asynchronous, async await stuff. If you're new to JavaScript, just look at the syntax. Then I'm going to return this. Yeah. So now this function is done, but then actually there's a small bug in our code. And then the bug is not actually regarding Dialogflow, it's actually regarding this. So what happens is, if I run my bot right now, for any message, the bot is going to reply pong. And the problem is, it's by any message. It doesn't matter if a bot sends it or or a user sends it. For literally any message is going to reply pong. So this will create an infinite loop. So it's going to reply pong, and then again the pong message itself will be recognized as a message. So again it's going to reply pong to its own message. So it's going to keep on happening. So I will show you guys how this actually is. I'm gonna run this using the same command, node space index.js. Yeah, so the bot is ready right now. I'm going to go back to the server and then I'm going to say, hey, it's about it. See. Can you guys see? So it's actually replying replying to its own messages. So I'm gonna stop this. Because Discord has rate limiting, so you can't send unlimited messages in a second or something like that. So it's a good idea to actually look out for all these bugs while testing itself. So yeah. So now what we're going to do is we need to actually reply to something only if the person sending is a human. So if at all if the person sending is a bot, we should not send the message. So the way you do it is, one second, if you go look at the code over here, there's a parameter called, so there's a parameter called this message.author.bot. So just copy that and log that out just for simplicity. All right. So now I'm going to save it and then I'm going to run the function again. I know that there's going to be an infinite loop over here, and yet I'm going to run I'm going to run this function again. I'm going to show you this parameter will have a Boolean value actually. So I'm going to show you how it works. So now if I say, hey, wait, what happened? Oh, message is not defined. Oh my God. It's MSG. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now if you send, hey, it's going to see the first time it replied false to me, which means that it was my message. So am I a bot? No, I'm not a bot. So it actually logged false. So the subsequent number of times it says true, which means the message is actually coming from a bot. So this is false, but all this is true. So Discord workshop is actually a bot, but me, I'm not a bot, right? So we have to add an if condition now. So if at all, if the person is not a bot, only then you should reply saying whatever the reply should be. So now I'm going to add an if condition. If the person is not a bot, if it's false, then you do this, then you reply, otherwise don't do anything. So now I'm going to log this and then I'm going to start my app again. Yeah, bot ready. So now I'm going to say hi. Okay, again message MSG. Keep making this mistake. Yeah, so now I'm going to say, hey, it just replied once. So that means the thing is working. So first it replied false. So I'm like, I'm logging a statement over here. So the first message was false. That means I'm not a bot. But the second time it replied it's true. So if it's true, it never came across, like, it never executed this condition. It directly quit the function. So which means that the bot is actually working as of now. So now what we need to do is, so like here you can send anything. So you can write msg.content if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So if you do this, then like, msg.content is basically what we are sending. What I've sent is over here, hey, ping, hi, and all these things. Like this is message.content. So if I stop my bot again, and if I restart it, the bot is ready. So now if I send hey, it should reply, yeah, say hey. So now if I said hi, it's gonna reply hi. So it's gonna be like, it's basically tell me what my text is. So if I type some gibberish over here, it's gonna reply the same gibberish back to me. So message.content. So now we know that message.content basically has our message. So now what we need to do is we need to take this message.content and somehow pass it into this field, into this text, so the Dialogflow can process it, and whatever like Dialogflow gives back to us, we are going to send that instead of just sending what the user has has asked us to do. So we'll stop the bot over here, and a function name is called reply message. So now inside this, if it's not a bot, I'm going to write like a reply msg, and inside inside this parameter, as a as a parameter, I'm going to say text query, and then I'm going to use this text query, and then I'm going to use that in the text field. So text will be equal to text query. So whatever I sent inside this function is going to be used up over here. So 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 inside this, when I'm actually calling the function, I'm going to pass in message.content as text query. So all this function will be executed. It's going to ask Dialogflow for all these things, and then once it actually got the fulfillment text, we can actually send that to the user instead of sending something else. So because it's asynchronous, you have to use a dot then notation, or from what I found out. So you can write dot then, and inside inside this you have to you have to get whatever is being returned. So I'm going to call that result, res, and with that result I'm going to just console.log, okay, which is basically print in JavaScript. I'm just going to print the result, nothing else. So right now I'm not passing it back to the back to the user. I'm just printing it, and the user as usual is going to get what he actually asked for. If he's going to say hey, the bot's going to reply hey. So this bot did this message dot reply is not being used over here. So I'm going to just save this file, and then I'm going to run this file again. Bot is ready, and now if I say hi, you will notice the bot also require it says hi, but if you notice over here, actually you can say query, which means wait one second, this function is being run, this this reply function is being run. So this logging has happened, query is basically hi, and then the response is result.fulfillment.text, right? So this is the result. So hi, how are you doing? So this is getting actually logged. So yeah, it goes to say that our bot is actually it's working. So all our API keys and everything we have done is actually working. We are actually authenticating ourselves to the Dialogflow client. So now what we have to do is, because it's returning and everything, and then we are we console.logging the result, we need to message.reply the result itself. So now you can if you want, you can keep the console.log statement, or you can remove it. So I'm going to I'm going to make a function right there, and then I'm going to keep the console.log result, and then in the next line over here, I'm going to actually I'm going to place this over here. So I'm going to so now I'm I'm going to reply to the person with the result of what Dialogflow actually computed. So so now I'm not replying what we what we are saying. If saying hi, it's going to reply back hi, and then if I'm going to type some gibberish, it's going to reply me with gibberish. But now it's actually replying me with whatever Dialogflow computed. So now this should work. All right. So now I've saved the file. Now I'm going to run the file again. The bot seems ready. So now if I say hey, Give it some time. So now there you go. So it says greetings, how can I assist? So now I think a bot is 95% complete. You can actually clean your code around here, like all these comments. If you want, you can remove them, or like you can keep some you can remove some console.log statements and everything. So now a bot seems to work. So now if you type hello there, General Kenobi. Okay, okay, okay. It replied, hi, how are you doing? I'm gonna type, who are you now? And let's see what it replies. It replied, well, I'm not a person, I'm a virtual agent. All right. So now our chatbot seems to be working. But what we can do is we can improve our chatbot even further. So at the beginning of the session, I told you about the Dialogflow console, right? I'm going to remove all these extra tabs. Yeah. So now I'm gonna visit this Dialogflow console right here. So here, here you can go down to Smalltalk, and then you can actually customize your agent. So about agent. So instead of who are you, for who are you, you can say, I am here to talk with you. All right. So I'm here to talk with you. How old are you? So if you want, if you want, you can make your bot a little bit sarcastic and say, time is an abstract subject. Okay, so now after you have edited everything, you can press save, and then everything will be updated for right there on the fly with your cloud. So you don't even have to stop your bot from running. So now if you go back to Discord, and now if you type who are you, it's gonna reply saying, I am here to talk with you. And that's exactly what we did over here. Got it? So you guys can you guys can go above and beyond, and then you can actually type for every this thing, and then you can let the you can let Dialogflow actually learn from all your intents. So there's all kinds of different stuff you can do, and even in the bot side. So if you want the bot to only, where is it? Yeah, to only reply to chatbot workshop, but then to nothing else. See, suppose I have bot spam over here. I've tested my other bots over here, but then if you here, if I type hey, the other bot will still reply. See, so if you don't want that to happen, you can again put an if condition. So in this if condition itself, you can put another condition called and just like how you do in C, and then you can type message dot channel dot name. So message dot channel dot name is basically what channel the message has come from. So if it's this thing will hold a string. It will be either bot spam, it will be general, it will be announcements, it will be chatbot, chatbot workshop, everything. So if you wanted to actually just reply to one channel of only chatbot workshop, you have to equate it to chat, what's the spelling, chatbot hyphen workshop. There we go. So now this if condition is actually checking if the message is being sent from a bot or not. And if it's if it's not a bot, then it's going to check this if the message is being sent only in this channel. If not, it's going to just skip this if condition, and the function is going to reply. And if both of these parameters work, then it's going to continue with the with the rest of the execution. So now we'll save this, and then we'll restart our server. So the bot seems ready now. So now if you type in bot spam, if you say hey, it'll not reply. See, there's no reply. But then if you go down to chatbot workshop, and here if you say hey, see, you got a reply from the bot now. So this is how you can customize your bot, and then you can go above and beyond. Actually, you can go back to the you can go back to discord.js, and then you can see what are the different parameters. So you can go to documentation over here, and then you can see, you can check avatars and also over here. Yeah, so client.on message. If the message content is what is my avatar, then the message content will be equal to what is my avatar. So you can reply, and then the function will be display avatar URL. So we'll try this. All right. So we'll try this. So we'll copy this if condition right here. And then for you guys to see, I'm just going to zoom it further. Yeah. This was the if condition I'm talking about. So I'm just going to copy this. And before before this message.author.bot, I'm going to paste that if condition. And then I'm going to put else if over here. All right. So if else if. So if like what do you call that? If this question is being what do you call that detected of what is my avatar, you only display the avatar. Don't actually unnecessarily execute or unnecessarily call Dialogflow. So now we're going to save this. Yeah, the bot seems ready. So now if you, what was the message? What is my avatar? Copy that, paste it here. So now wait, what happened? Okay, again MSG. Damn it. I should have called it message itself. Yeah. Everywhere. MSG. It's seems good now. Yeah. So again, I'm gonna paste that. Yep. So it's gonna reply me with the profile photo of what I have. So it's just gonna go to your it's an inbuilt function. It'll just check who's sending, and then it'll just send the avatar back to them. It's that simple. So if you can actually see more of these cases. There are a lot of stuff over here. I may not be actually able to cover up a lot of this, but then you guys can actually read this and then try implementing it in your bot. So you guys can make this bot a really good bot by actually using all this message attachment and client and all this stuff, and then go actually checking out Dialogflow and then seeing all this. You can even make intents, but beware. Actually, the thing is that if you make an intent, it may not behave well with your small talk. So you need to check that as well. I've never actually created any intent. It's actually for people who are running commercial websites or something. So if at all I think you guys may have visited some website, and then at the lower right corner or something like that, you guys maybe may see chat with someone or something like that. So all these things are being powered by chatbots. So if at all, if you are if your company or if your website doesn't have the infrastructure to implement all this machine learning and all these things, you can just use Google's Dialogflow. So this is so easy to create a chatbot and then to authenticate itself. And so now I'll also be telling you guys on why I actually extracted both of these env files and the JSON files out. So what happens is, if at all if you're working as a team, you would want to develop this bot. So this is a pretty small bot, but then if at all if you're working as a team, then what you're your bot may be really big. So if at all if your bot is highly highly functioning, or if you want to make it commercial, if you want to host it on AWS or something like that, so that time you need to actually hide your API keys. You can't leave them displaying like that. So what we have done is we have successfully taken it out of a source code into a different file. So but then it's still it's still bad if at all if you don't ignore them while actually committing to Git. So for that, Git has a really nice way of actually ignoring files. So for that, you need to create a file called .gitignore. So in this file, what happens is you can actually ignore all these files, node modules and env and everything. So if at all, if you if you actually commit all these files, node modules, there's nothing wrong, but then it's a really huge file, and then you don't want to be actually committing all these things to to your Git repository. You need to actually ignore all these files. So for that, all what you need to do is just specify the folder name, all the file name inside this gitignore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just type node modules, and then I'm going to just put a slash denoting that this is a directory. And then I'm going to put .env and then API config.json. Config.json. That's it. So I'm going to save this gitignore file. So now what I have done is, if at all if I'm using a version control system such as Git, what Git is going to do is it's going to ignore node module, it's going to ignore env, it's going to ignore api config.json. So or the files which will be committed is package.json, package.log.json, and index.json. That's about it. And the the gitignore file itself. So now the way you initialize Git inside your working project folder is you type git git init init. So this will actually make a Git repository, make a Git empty Git repository in your folder. So now as you can see, if at all, I don't think I can zoom in over here. Node modules.env and API config.json is actually faded out. And my id is actually doing that for me. VS Code has actually intelligently gone through my gitignore file, and then it has seen that all these three things I've actually not included, I've included it in my gitignore file. So it's actually ignoring this. It's telling me that if at all if you're using Git, then all these three files and folders will not be committed. So now so now you can actually create a commit. You can write git add dot, so git space add space dot. So you've added all the working files or all the changes you have staged, and git commit. So now what this command does is it will it will commit all these files, and you have to have a commit message. So you can write write a commit message by saying -m, and inside double quotes whatever commit message. Since this is my first commit, I'm going to type initial commit. There we go. So here you can see that Git has actually committed my gitignore file, my index.js file, my package.json file, and my package.log.json file. So only these 4 files have been committed. So my env, API config, and node modules are not committed. So this has really increased my security by a lot, because if at all if I want to push all this to a to a Git repository, then it'll not be it'll not be shown over here. So it'll only be there in my working in my working setup. Even if I explore my index.js, you guys can see this process.env.discord token, which means that I have actually used .env, but then I have actually made use of an environment variable. So a random person going through my code and my Git repository can't actually see my token. So that way I've hidden it from all others. So it has increased my security by a lot. So people can't make ill use of my API keys. So yeah, I think I have pretty much covered everything there is to know. So so now if at all for the guys who have followed by with me, I know that I was really fast. I needed to complete this within 1 hour or something like that. So now that our bot is in fully working condition. If you want, you can run it a few more times. You can go ahead and you can go ahead to Dialogflow and and actually change the intents and stuff. The sky is the limit. You can you can make your bot do something. You can you can create a trigger. So if at all if you're you can create a trigger using if conditions. So if at all if the what do you call that, if the user's a question has something, then you can make the bot reply by a different method. So you can you can use regular expressions in bots and everything. So it's really amazing the way you can hack stuff together by using all these different kinds of packages and APIs. So now I think I'm done. Do you guys have any questions? I'll just go ahead to the chat box. Yeah, Piyush and Anurag Bhaiya.
Yeah, do we have any questions? Anyone wanted to ask
you guys
anything?
Can you guys can hit me up in the chat box. If at all if I was if I actually rushed in some parts of the workshop, you can tell me and then I can explain it to you back again.
Yeah, feel free to ask your doubts.
Yeah, you can either ask your doubts over here, if you don't have any doubts right now and you want to just redo everything, and then you can just ping us like Kaushal in the Discord channel, in our Discord server anytime. We'll be happy to help you over there also. Yeah,
and we'll be uploading the same recording in the YouTube channel as well, so you can go through this again as well.
I just I'm sorry to interrupt. I just got a a question from Vishnu Vinod. He's asking if this code is hostable anywhere, if it'll run in an online server. The answer is yes, it can. So the way you need to do is I'm going to just make a I'm going to take Heroku as an example. So for Heroku, what you need to do is you need to create a proc file, PROCFILE. And then in this file, you need to type web. And inside this, the command it will need to actually execute once it's uploaded on your server. So it will be node index.js. So once the code is being uploaded to Heroku, it will run this command. So this command is basically the same command what we've been running down here. As you can see, node index.js, here node index.js. So basically, instead of running this command in your local machine, you can just run this command on the server. That's it. That's the difference between running it on the server and this thing. And yes, you can run it on a server. The existing bots which are actually deployed for the people who use Discord, there are a lot of bots. You know that, right? So all these bots are being deployed on AWS, Google Cloud, or somewhere using all these things. So I've given Heroku as an example, but then you can deploy it anywhere you want. It's just like a node server for the people who know JavaScript. It's just like a node server. So yeah, any more questions? Do you have to install a package to run npm commands on VS? No need. You don't need to do that. You can just open up a terminal. So actually, I was using the integrated terminal inside VS Code. If you don't want to do that, you can use this terminal itself over here. So I'm going to actually close the terminal and get it back again because the environment variables have to refresh. Yeah, and then I'm going to run the bot over here. I'm going to cd into the directory. And the same command, node index.js. So this is my terminal, and then I've got the message, and then the same way I can converse with it. It's a bit slow in the beginning. Okay, what happened? Could not load default credentials. Okay, yeah. 1 second. Yeah, so I think because I've exported everything inside this Visual Studio Code terminal, so all the environment variables over here, yeah, you can still use the other terminal, the other terminal, but then you have to run that export command again. The export, which one is it? 1 second. The export command, actually I've made a small file called setup.sh in the repo. So I have the export command over here. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go ahead over here, pwd, but not here, Discord's thing, pwd and ls. Okay, so now I'm going to paste this, and inside the double quotes, I'm going to paste this pwd thing, the file path, and I'm going to put a slash, and I'm going to export this JSON file as well. That's it. So now I've exported in this terminal also. So now if I type node index.js, it should run. Everything should be fine. There we go. So if I say hi now, it should work. Yeah, it's false. It's working. See, it's working. It's working as it should. Yeah. So have I answered your question? Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So guys, any more questions? Please hit me up right now.
I guess if we don't have any more questions, I guess we can wrap up this. Yeah.
All this recording will be uploaded on YouTube. So if at all, I was really fast, I'll admit it. So if at all, if you couldn't follow up with me, then you can you can use YouTube. After this video is being uploaded there, and then you can you can watch the video at your own pace, and then you can implement all this nice stuff. So you don't need to rush. If at all, if I was fast, I admit it.
No, so, actually, yeah. Your explanation was very thorough, in the code section. So actually, yeah. So I guess, yeah, thanks Kaushal for, this wonderful session on Discord and Dialogflow. Yeah, it has been a pleasure to have you. Yeah. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us. I guess we can end this meeting, and we'll upload the YouTube video in upcoming 2 or 3 days. As soon as possible, it will be.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks all for joining us.
Yep. Thank you.